Hello, this is Reverend Dave Novak, a Polish Padre in the Archdiocese of St. Louis. And today was this weekend was very special for ham radio operators. I'll try to keep this kind of short. It does tie in with our missions and so on. My dad got interested in the hobby of amateur radio when he was in Beaumont High School. And at that time, it was primarily Morse code. Uh, Later on, he got a microphone and started talking, but that was the first way. And he faced his own challenges. In the 30s, I don't think TVs came until like the 40s, but they had radios and they had refrigerators. And this one lady was certain that her refrigerator stopped working because my dad was on his radio. He almost got evicted from the neighborhood. But when World War II started, he was a radio man in World War II, so it all turned out good. Thinking of Black Lives Matter, it occurred to me that I really didn't know anyone who was black when I was in grade school or high school. The maintenance man was black, but I really never got to know him. This was at Rosary, and there was one black student, his son, and he was in a different class. I never got to know him. I think he was a good football player. It wasn't until college, when I joined the St. Louis University Amateur Radio Club, that I met an Afro-American engineer. I was in engineering school too. And that made a difference, because that's the first time I actually knew personally another person whose skin and whose background was quite a bit different than mine. But we learned we had a lot of things in common, and if nothing else, we're both engineers. Okay. This weekend is kind of special because amateur radio operators throughout the United States prepare for disasters. And certainly we know all about disasters after the last few months, the COVID, the Black Lives Matter, now tearing down statues and all that. And amateur radio can play a very vital role during emergencies. That's why the Federal Communications Commission, as well as similar ones throughout the world, still allow amateur radio. Our job is not to broadcast, although some people do just listen, but to have a two-way communications with nearly anyone in the world that happens to be an amateur radio operator. And anyway, this weekend we set up stations in the field, primarily, that we just throw up a wire in a tree and get a battery and a radio, and away we go. And the purpose of that is if there would be, not if there, but when there will be an earthquake, if it's a bad one, all communications is pretty much going to be wiped out. You know, your cell phones won't work because the towers are down, landlines won't work, computers won't work, nothing will work. And so ham radio operators provide a vital service in communications in time of disasters. When Haiti had that, it was either earthquake or a hurricane, or maybe it was both, it was an amateur radio operator who was the first one to notify someone outside of Haiti what had happened. Pretty important. Also, I don't know, about 2013 or something, maybe it was longer than that, Joplin got hit by a really bad tornado, And ham radio operators from Kansas City and St. Louis went down there to provide communications, first of all, for the Red Cross, and then other needed services that needed communications. I'm not going to say a whole lot more, other than I am proud to be a ham radio operator, just like my dad. I enjoy talking to other people. One time I talked to King Hussein, not the one that you're thinking of, but it was King Hussein, who was the president of Jordan. And I think Arthur Godfrey was a ham radio operator, and Barry Goldwater was a ham radio operator. So Bishop Casey was a ham radio operator. I used to talk to him back and forth from Bolivia, because at that time telephone communications weren't very reliable. So I'm kind of going in circles, but it's okay. It's Sunday, it's late. So God bless you, and if anybody wants to know more about amateur radio operators, let me know and I'll steer you in the right direction. God bless. Have a good week. Bye. Stop.